CCR3. How did your production skills develop throughout this project? I had practiced photography previously as a hobby and was working on editing my pictures in the iPhone presets, and I was most confident with saturation, highlights, and contrast. I had focused mainly on landscapes previously, such as this picture I took in Dubai, so I had to adapt to portrait dimensions. I was confident in planning and organizing photo shoots and getting along with my models, since I picked people I am good friends with. The most difficult thing I found was editing the front cover and the photos, because I was incredibly indecisive and very perfectionist about it, so I was very frustrated. I found it difficult to find the right layout to text ratio on the front cover. For example, down below, I didn't like the way the text sat, as it was too long and didn't contrast as much. So after a lot of consultation with my family and friends, I decided to space it closer together and make it bulkier. In order to cope with my frustrations, I worked backwards, as it allowed me to take a step back and rethink how to do it, whilst asking my peers who fall into my target audience for advice. I did this by finishing my article first, then the content page, and then the front cover, so that I wouldn't fall behind on any deadlines. I had to learn how to tell my models how to pose by experimenting with a variety of different ones until finding the right one. I knew straight away that I wanted to use a black background, as you can see in Eric's background, to emphasize the themes of darkness and horror. I learned how to use pages from a friend, and after a lot of trial and error managed to produce the front page. As I take English A-level, I didn't have a lot of difficulty with the article, only realizing what is acceptable to ask in interviews and the tone to give the interviewee. I learned how certain fonts can give off more bold and powerful tones to the magazine and learned to match it accordingly. Through experimentation, I learned to use some of the iPhone presets I had struggled with previously, such as exposure, which you can see down below, brilliance, and shadows. Furthermore, I learned to use retouch in order to make the blood on this front cover seem more realistic than just paint. As my previous photography was on my iPhone XR, I had to slightly adjust to working with an iPhone 13, which I had borrowed off of my friends, as it has a better camera and a very useful zoom range of 0.5, 1, and 3, which I had used before slightly when hanging out with them. I experimented using this on the front cover, but decided to actually move closer to my model, as it had more focus and was more intense, which was one of the main characteristics I wanted to bring out here. I am very happy with my final product, as I persevered through my frustrations and made something I am very proud of. I redrafted my front cover and even content page a few times, as I didn't like the way the text sat next to the pictures. I am very grateful for my friends, family, and teacher, as I consistently asked their opinion and what I could do to improve, and they helped me realize it needed to be more bold and shadowy to mirror the theme of the magazine and entice my audience with the strong characteristics I wanted to present to them, which they could implement on themselves. Personal identity, Blumler and Katz. Even though these may get a negotiated reading, Stuart Hall reception theory, as they may be too in your face for a more resigned audience, psychometrics.